I'm Kat here at the Shiatsu Centre for this week's class. I think we've got Basti in on the chat. If he hasn't popped on yet, I will now and again check in on the chat. But maybe feel free to say hello, and we will continue on our wonderful wood-themed element for this month, which is wonderfully linked in with the season of spring. Definitely here in Norwich, all the plants and the flowers are popping their heads out. Still a little bit wet, but it's quite a delightful spring already. Hello, everyone. That's lovely to have you here. What I'm going to do is just going to close that slide down there. Great. Okay. How are we getting on? Right. So just to start, I'm going to share a poll of how you're doing or how you're coping. And then we're going to check in with ourselves, tune into the breath and do a scan, and then come and find another poll before we get moving. So here we are. How are you coping? Are you coping well? Are you okay? Are you about neutral? Are you stressed? Or are you very stressed? Okay. Let's see how they are. I think the poll's a little bit slow this morning. It's getting there. It's loading up nicely. Great. Oh, hello, Liz from drizzly South Norfolk. It is quite drizzly this morning. All right. So at the minute, 50 to 55% of you are in the stressed area. A few that are coping well and are okay, and 33% neutral. So I'm hoping that by 11 o'clock, or if you're elsewhere in the world, within an hour, we'll get out of the stress zone and feeling much more calm and nourished in our bodies. Okay, thank you. I'll come back to the chat. Hello. Oh, great. Yes, some spring Qi. All right, so from here, let's just come and sit nice and comfortably. I'm going to sit on the ground. I'm going to get a bolster, actually, or a cushion. All right, so maybe you want to sit on the chair or on the ground. I'm going to use a bolster to sit a little bit higher for my hips to release a little bit more. All right, great. And then from here, kind of nuzzling the hips. Now you still can't see me, I'm so small. I don't want to move the camera because it's better for when we stand. That's better, there we are. I'll be small at the back. So maybe you want cushions or sitting on a chair, just wiggling the hips a little bit, seeing if they can undo, and then rolling the shoulders, melting the shoulder blades down, the ribs at the back, and then very gently opening the front of the chest where the lung channel begins. Often, sometimes when we're stressed, the shoulders can hold a lot of tension or kind of curl forward and the breath gets blocked. So even if this morning you can't open the chest too much, just seeing if we can encourage a little bit more space in around the shoulders and the chest. Lovely. And then just checking the head and the neck. Is that smooth and easy? Or I don't know about you, but when I get stressed out, my neck gets really tight. So we'll come and do some stuff to help undo the neck later. All right. So you can either have the hands resting on the legs or on the belly, but my favorite is one hand on the chest and one hand on the belly, and maybe closing the eyes. Wonderful. And before we do a scan through the body, which you can also do standing if that's easier, we're just going to notice where our breath is, not necessarily changing it, just noticing. I think mine's a little high. I was quite giddy this morning and excited about the day. So just noticing where the breath is. Maybe it feels free and easy and it's drawing into the body quite gently, but without any obstruction. Or maybe it feels a little bit blocked or held somewhere. Just noticing. Wonderful. And anytime you want to move your hands, please do. We're going to start a scan through the body, kind of a little bit like a photocopier. We're going to start above the head. We're going to scan down. I'll talk us through the little bits of the body as we go. And we're just noticing if there's anywhere that's blocked or feeling cold or weak, anything like that. Maybe you just feel absolutely amazing this morning. So starting just above the head, noticing what that's like. We're going to scan down to the top of the head, onto the crown of the head, scanning down the back of the head, the sides where the ears are, down onto the face, where all our sense organs are, apart from the fascia, which is everywhere. But noticing how our eyes are, ears, nose, mouth. Scanning down the back of the skull. Let's not forget our brain and our mind, how that's doing. Drawing that scan down into the neck and the throat, into the muscles and the bones. Scanning down to the top of the shoulder girdle, into the collarbone, the scapula. We'll go down the arms to begin with. So from the shoulder joints, just noticing how the shoulders are doing. You're not necessarily changing anything. Down the upper arms, the bones and the muscles, the flesh and the blood, into the elbows, the forearms, the wrists and the hands, all the way to the fingertips. Just having an easy breath. We're going to come back up and scan from where we left off on the collarbone and the back of where the thoracic spine begins. So scanning down, maybe tuning in and noticing the lungs and your heart, this wonderful voluminous rib cage, all the intercostal muscles, just noticing how everything is. To the sternum, past the diaphragm and all the vertebrae at the back, scanning down into the belly, the waist. We've got all our fascia, connective tissue, noticing the organs underneath the hand if you have it on your belly. How are they doing? What do they feel like? Into the hips, front of the hips, the bones, the pelvic bowl, and all the organs in the pelvic bowl, the sacrum, all the way to the tailbone, all the muscles, going down the legs into the femur, noticing the flesh, the skin, down into the knees, noticing how your knees are doing, into the lower leg, the muscles and bone, into the ankles, and all the lovely little bones of the feet, the fascia, the lovely soles of our feet, all the way to the tips of the toes. Then we're just going to go a little bit beyond, even if we're sitting, noticing that space underneath us, the same as we did above our heads, just noticing how that is. Wonderful. We're just going to let all those feelings and thoughts ebb away gently. If we have our hands still resting on the body, we're just going to gently take them away and very slowly open our eyes. Great. Easy breath. I'm just going to share a poll about how your scan was. How's everyone doing? Great. Oh, great. Loads more people have popped on. Okay, so I'm just going to read it. So thinking about your scan and your energy, would you say you are mainly, I'll share this now, do you feel a little bit deficient? Do you feel about right? Deficient as in maybe weak or cold or like lacking in energy? Do you feel blocked and obstructed or frustrated? If I get stressed out, I'm definitely more in the blocked part. Maybe you feel a bit hot. So this is the kind of difference between the two, but you guys definitely know this work very much, so you know what we're talking about. Okay, so there's actually quite a smooth amount across the deficient, about right, and blocked to obstructed. So it's like 22% very deficient, 22% deficient, 6% very blocked, but the main one at 33% is blocked or obstructed. But we'll work with all of these to help us in our work today. Wonderful. Okay, we're doing great. Super. All right, I'm just going to close that poll so I can come back to the chat. Wonderful. Okay, so how is it if we're sitting, if we calm up to standing? I'm just going to pop my glasses down, out the way. Today we're tuning into our wood element, the liver and the gallbladder, and this week we're looking at the emotional level connected in with these two meridians. So just to begin, we're just going to pad the feet in the ground. I'll turn sideways, making sure we can allow the heels to rest in the ground. I live in the city of Norwich, and when I see people stressed out, but particularly more so in London, people tend to get stressed out and walk very fast. Oh, there's no weight in the heels, so how is it if we just drop back in, allowing the chest, maybe stroking the front of the chest is reassuring and quite nice, and we're just padding the feet in the ground. Yeah, kind of like a cat, kind of padding the feet before we start to settle more into the body. Wonderful. And we know that our liver channel loves smooth flow of Qi and Qi, so we're going to be working on that today. So anyone that feels weak and deficient, we're going to get that nicely nourished, and that will help anyone that feels blocked and obstructed as well. So we're going to settle the feet into the ground, relaxing the toes and the heels, and I'm just going to rock a little bit. I'll turn sideways. Just going to rock on the toes and the heels, soft in the ankles and the knees and the hips. Just taking a little rock through the pelvis. So our wonderful liver meridian comes up the inside of the legs and through the groin, and then up the sides of the ribs. Lovely. So rocking the feet, and then finding somewhere really nice to just settle. Brilliant. And taking just a brief moment to realize that we're just standing, and it's quite an easy thing to do. Kind of like when a pendulum finds an easy place to settle and it's just hanging down. We're hanging up towards the heavens. Super. Okay, so don't worry, we're going to get that blocked and obstructed stuff out the way. So let's start with some shaking, undoing the fingers, the thumbs, and it can be gentle. You don't have to be too vigorous, particularly if we're feeling weak or deficient. Take the shaking a little more gently. If we're feeling blocked or obstructed, maybe a little bit more vigorous feels good. Maybe bouncing the hands upwards. And we're going to go into the wrists and the forearms. We're getting that, I like cooked spaghetti limbs, but I have a friend who uses the wet noodle feeling in the bones, into the elbows. Again, doesn't matter what it looks like, we're just moving these arms around into the upper arm. And again, it can be gentle and much easier. Into the shoulders. And you can keep the arms low or allow them to do kind of whatever they do. Ooh, having a good old shake out, wibbly wobbly arms, great. And then releasing the arms by the sides of the body. Brilliant. We're going to do the same with the legs. If you want to lean on something or someone at home, please do. So we're going to shift the weight into one foot and give one ankle and toes, a good old shake out. See if we can release everything. You might want to change the angle of the leg. Oh, having a good old shake out. I think I definitely need this morning. So thank you all. It's a pleasure to come and do this with you all. And then flexing the foot. So imagining that we're shaking everything out from the heel. Oh, wonderful. That's great. And then releasing the ankle. Anytime we want to put the foot down and pick it up, please do. Into the lower leg. Into the knee. Oh, into the thigh. Maybe a little chicken dance. Doesn't matter what it looks like. We're releasing and shaking out. If we're feeling a bit weak and deficient, be a bit more gentle and easy in the body. And anytime you want to rest and lie on the floor, please do. Right, we're going to get into the hip. 2 ways of doing it. Softening in on the supporting leg and drop the heel out, and then just rock the leg in the hip socket. Or if you want a little bit more energetic way of getting into the hip, make sure you've got room in front and behind you, just swinging the leg, even if it's low, releasing the leg in the hip socket. Wonderful. Oh. And then finding that foot nicely on the ground. We're getting all our limbs shaken out. So into that lovely leg that we've just shaken out, standing on that lovely leg, we're going to get into that other foot. Ooh. Having a good old shake out. And we're still breathing. Yeah, brilliant. Releasing the toes, maybe changing the angle of the leg. Maybe flexing the foot so we can release things out the heel. Oh, that's quite a nice one. It's helping the front of the hip. And then releasing into the ankle and the lower leg. Same thing, you might want to drop the foot and pick it up again into the knee, into the thigh. Ooh, a little bit clicky on my right side. So we're noticing the different sides. They might feel very different. And then the same thing again, either dropping into that supporting leg and have the heel on the ground and rock the leg. Or if you want, we can take a little bit more of a swing, even if it's low, releasing the hip and the leg in the hip socket. Brilliant. And then coming to standing again. I know when we do kembiki, or a good old shake out or wobble in the body, I always like to do our 6 limbs. So we've done 4 arms and legs. I like to work the head and the tail. So easy position with the feet, hip or shoulder width apart, a little bit of weight in the heels. We're just going to take the head to look from one side to the other. I'm going to catch my breath. Just noticing how the neck feels. So if there's any tension in the front of the neck or the side, particularly around that lovely sternocleidomastoid muscle, we're going to notice if it's kind of pulling or straining, bring in the angle of which we look much smaller. So if there's any tension, we don't want to force the neck, just look a little bit less. We're helping the tension to melt away down to the ground. Lovely. If you're feeling like you're in the weak or deficient, or you're feeling cold or lacking energy, stay with this slower pace of energy. If you feel a little bit blocked or obstructed and you don't get dizzy often, we can just take the head for a bit more of a shake and maybe making a noise. So do what feels good for you. Even if you're feeling a little bit weak or lacking of energy, if this feels all right for you to do, feel free to do it as well. So we're just going to relax the cheeks and the jaw and take the head for a little shake side to side. And releasing. taking the head back to an easy movement, side to side, oiling the lovely joints. And then we'll just do that quicker shake. You could make a noise if you like, I don't mind. I've only got Cliff next door. He knows I'll be making strange noises here in the treatment room whilst we shake out and get our Qi moving. So just having a little shake out, releasing the jaw. Wonderful. Oh. And then bringing the head back to the center. And we're going to drop down, soften the knees. Imagine our tailbones growing much longer. We're just going to wiggle the hips from side to side. Maybe it's a little bit of a figure of 8. And it can be really slow and easy. We're sending that lovely synovial fluid around all the joints, which is exactly what the liver channel needs and wants. Smooth flow of Qi. And then the blood will follow and nourish all the joints. So whether we're feeling deficient or obstructed, this is really good for this. Maybe you want to do a few circles with the pelvis. You might notice lengthening the legs feels good, or maybe you want to soften in at the knees a little bit. So do what feels good. And then change direction of the hips. You might want to go a little bit smoother and quicker, or maybe staying at a slower pace feels better for you. Working with what we want to. Lovely. And we'll change direction if I haven't said that already. Or maybe just generally wiggling the hips and the tailbone. Super. And we're just going to gently let that ebb away. Coming back to an easy parallel in with the feet. Releasing the arms and the shoulders. We're just going to stay and do a little bit of work to help open the lungs at the top so we can send that lovely pure Qi and Qi down. We'll do a little bit of Qi Gong movement before we come and work our feet. I'm just going to double check in the chat. I don't know. I don't know if Basti's around actually, so I'll just have a little good. Oh, thanks, Jane. Yes, spaghetti arms are a massive highlight of these webinars. Really glad about that. We can get our spaghetti limbs on. Super. Okay, everyone's doing great. Okay, so we're going to come up to easy parallel. I'm sure we've all done this before. We're just going to raise the arms to shoulder height and then release them. Breathing in and releasing. Then we're going to draw the arms up, lengthening the legs. We're going to release the arms and soften the knees and have a little bounce. Great. So just allowing the pelvis to drop down to the ground. We've got the feet nicely spread in the earth. And then off we go. As Dinah says many times, this is like our cross-country skiing. And we can be quite gentle with this if we just want an easy bounce. Or if we feel like, yeah, we really want to get across that snowy field and the sun is shining and the air is fresh and pure. Oh, wonderful. Sending the arms, swinging, maybe wiggling the fingers. I like to do that as we swing. It's helping all the meridians, the lung, large intestine, in the thumb and the index finger to light up and become a little bit more awake. Oh, that's lovely. Brilliant. And then to help the chest a little bit, so I'll turn to the front. We're going to start to bring the hands up so they cross at the top. So they're crossing at the top. This is more like bell ringing in a church tower. If anybody's done that, the rope is quite firm to pull. So we want to help downwards with this. And we're helping the spacing at the armpits and underneath the ribs. And then keep crossing the arms. Keep crossing the arms. And then we're going to start to hug ourselves. Even if it fits, oh, excuse my tongue. Even if it's a gentle movement side to side. Or maybe really releasing the arms. Oh, that feels good, particularly if we're stressed and feeling a little bit blocked or obstructed. Wonderful. And then we're going to come back out of that. We're going to start to uncross the arms. Whew. We're still breathing, and we've still got lovely weight in the feet. We're coming back to our bell ringing. Brilliant. And then the hands are going to uncross. They're starting to drop. We're back to our cross-country skiing. And we're starting to maybe slow it down because we're coming to a nice bar at the end of the hill, at the end of the mountain. Somewhere to rest, allowing the arms to slow down. We're going to soften the legs so they can be a little bit more still. Catching your breath, gently releasing the arms by the side of the body. Taking your time to let that fizz and melt away. Super. Brilliant. Don't know about you, but I feel much more awake and alive, a little bit tingly around my shoulders and arms. That's really released a lot of tension. Hopefully you're doing all right. I'll quickly check in on the chat. I think everyone, yes, there isn't anything. Okay, we're doing great. So we're going to do, perfect timing, we're going to do some double weighted swings from one side to the other. So we've undone the lungs, we've helped open this wonderful channel on the chest. We've also connected in with the heart channel in from the armpit to the little finger, and we've opened the triple heater and heart protector. So all of this kind of metal element and fire element, we're going to start to come down into the middle burner, finding our stomach, spleen, liver and gallbladder. How's that doing? You don't like shaking because it feels too jarring. Great, cross-country skiing, exactly. So if shaking's too much, we can even actually, Jane, if shaking is too much, I also like this feeling of circles, circling the joints. Sorry, I didn't mention that before. So we can gently take the joints round for a circle, particularly if there's any like arthritis in the thumb and wrist joints. Shaking can be quite uncomfortable. So maybe circling, moving the joints in spirals will help. Okay, so we're going to move into a nice area into the belly, the hara, across the lower ribs and into the waist in our double weighted swing. So again, having the feet nice and planted in the ground, a little bit of weight in your heels. I'm going for the shoulder width and using this image that the belly is like a lighthouse. So it's shining out some gorgeous spring sunshine. And the movement's going to come from here. You've all done it lots before. We're going to start slow and we're going to keep this space between the knees. So obviously the legs move a little bit, but we're going to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen and we stay nice and strong like a mountain. So this belly is going to start to move from side to side. And maybe placing a hand on there helps. And the breath is easy. We're just allowing this belly lighthouse to move from side to side. Wonderful. And the spine is starting to join in. Maybe we can release the hand to the side of the body. And how is it that the twist becomes a little bit bigger? So the arms are joining in. And it's gentle. We're starting gently to start moving that qi in the body. If we're feeling a little bit weak or deficient, or cold or lacking energy, stay at this slower, nourishing pace. We don't have to do anything extra at all. If we feel dizzy or there's still tension in the neck, you can also keep the head looking forward. Or if it feels okay, you can allow the head to join in as well. Easy breath. Then from here, if you want to, we're going to start to get a little bit bigger. Or we can do whatever pace and movement feels good. If we want to come to a rest, please do. You can have a little lie down on the ground if that's what you need to do. Allowing the arms to maybe span out a little bit more. Easy breath, wringing out the lovely liver gallbladder channels down the sides of the body, because that's what today is all about. We're connecting in with the emotional level of the liver and gallbladder. Okay, so from here, if you want to slow it down, please do. If you would like to, we're going to take the arms across to one side and lift the heel of the opposite foot. So we're starting to, you might want to pad the feet out a little bit wider. Maybe we're coming into some discus throwing. Allowing that lovely gallbladder in the pelvis, in the side of the glutes to kind of be undone. Wonderful. And then from here, maybe you want to stay there for a little bit longer, but we're just going to start to slow it down again, grounding the feet. Making the arm movement much smaller. So we're still moving from the belly. Taking your time, allowing everything to settle. So even when the arms are a little quieter, the belly is still shining that bright lighthouse light from our belly buttons. Wonderful. Just allowing everything to gently settle. Taking your time. Wonderful. So we're working down. We've worked the lungs, the heart, triple heater, heart protector. We've helped the liver and the gallbladder. So now we're just going to do a little movement to help open up the backs of the legs. And we're going to come and find our feet before point of the week. All right, how are we doing? Got a wonderful amount of time this morning. So we're going to do some gentle breath, folding forward and arm curling. We can go as far over as is comfortable. You can also do this sitting. I'll get a chair in a moment and show that. So having the feet in an easy parallel. And we're going to imagine, do you know, I think they're in America a lot, and I found out they're called sky dancers, those fabric people that are in like secondhand car places, and they've got this lovely smiley face around the belly area, and they fill with air, and then they deflate and come back down again. So we're going for this feeling. So as we breathe in, we're going to breathe in through our lovely kidney one, which we're going to connect to in a moment. We're going to breathe in through the feet. It's drawing up the legs into the pelvis, into the torso, all the way into the arms. Fingertips, tip of the nose, back of the head. We could keep the head looking forward and having an easy breath. And maybe we're just swaying in wonderful, warm Californian breeze. Wonderful, spring-like. It's fresh and warm. Wonderful. Easy breath. And then as we breathe out, we're going to slowly fold. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Folding all the limbs. So it's like every cell is gently getting squeezed. Gently, gently folding forward. And maybe you just want to stay resting with your forearms on the thighs or on the knees. Or maybe you can fold all the way over. Then we're going to breathe in again. So it's going to draw up through the legs. Arm curling. So make sure the pelvis draws underneath first. That breath drawing into the hips, the sacrum, the organs. And we're coming all the way up into our sky dancing body again. Moving in the breeze. It's very gentle. Wonderful. I'm going to show it sitting, so continue if you're standing. I'm just going to grab a chair. So you're swaying in the breeze. I'll wiggle this here. Got our feet planted on the ground. Breathing in, swaying in the breeze. Then we're going to breathe out, and every cell is going to exhale. Folding forward. So we can do this sitting. Maybe it's just to the forearms or the hands. Breathing out. allowing all of the air to come out of the body, gently folding forward to wherever's comfortable. And then taking your time to breathe in again. You can use your hands on your legs. Breathing in. We'll do one more. Breathing in. Hopefully everyone's doing all right. Oh, maybe taking a yawn and a stretch and allowing little gentle movement, wiggles in the torso, in the waist. Wonderful. And then this time as we breathe out, we're going to stay standing and we're just going to take the arms down to the side of the body as we breathe out, but the spine is nice and tall. Then returning to a natural, easy breath, checking in with the whole body. Don't know about you, but I'm feeling much more alive in my legs. This tingly feeling before is kind of settled, is feeling much smoother. Just gonna move the chair a little bit closer. How's everyone doing? Discus framing. Great, yes. Indeed it does, Jane. That twisting from side to side is great for unblocking stagnation or frustration. And also either singing or shouting. Maybe you like singing really loud in your car, or maybe when you go for a walk in nature, which the liver and the gallbladder also love to see green things and being with the trees. Maybe we can sing or shout or let things out as we move as well. Yes, okay. Yeah, why don't we do this every day? Well, that's it, we can, but it's always sometimes quite difficult to remember to do this for ourselves. All right, we're going to come to sitting. We're going to find our most used and favorite point, I think, is kidney 1. So you might want to sit on a chair or sitting on the floor. And we're going to take a hold of one foot and rubbing the hands together. If we can't quite reach our feet, you can use a tennis ball or a washer ball, or I think someone once used an apple, and we can put it underneath the foot on the floor and roll the foot out so we can still get into all these lovely points in the foot. So we're going to rub the hands together and then just giving the foot a really lovely squeeze all around. Yeah, seeing what that feels like. Seeing if there's a little bit of movement. Or maybe we just want to be really gentle, giving our foot some care and attention, some nourishing, loving touch. You know, like you would if you held a little rabbit or a cat or your favourite animal, holding this lovely creature, give it in some like caring touch. Lovely. You might want to give each toe a little wiggle, a little squeeze or a wiggle from side to side. Great. And then we're going to find our kidney 1. So I'll lift up my foot. You can keep yours resting. So big toe is number 1, second toe, third toe, in between 2 and 3, underneath the ball of the foot. You all know where it is. I know you do. You can either use your fingertips to kind of press in and open the top of the foot where we know our liver channel runs. We've connected in with liver 3. Or you might want to use your thumb on this lovely point and gently pressing in. If it's particularly tender, just hold this point with the hand gate just to help draw some energy to this lovely point. Wonderful. Easy breath. Lovely. Such a wonderful point. It's really good to help us kind of feel calm, particularly if we get anxious or panicky. It's great for our sleep, calming the nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system rather than our sympathetic nervous system. We need both, but we don't want to be stuck in the fight or flight or the doing and active part of the nervous system. We also need that place to rest and digest. Wonderful. All right, and then we're going to release that foot and we're going to come to the other one. So maybe rolling the foot on the ball or giving a good solid squeeze. Whilst you do that, I'm going to check in the chat. How's everyone doing? Yes, I have a list, as long as my arm, of things I should do every day. I know sometimes it's like that, isn't it? Going to take care of my body, and then the dog throws up on the carpet. There's always something, isn't there? Yeah, that's it. All right, so taking a hold of that other foot. Life is funny. It throws all sorts of things at us. And when we want to do certain things for ourselves, there are times where things feel like they get in the way. But it's that feeling of, even if it's 5 minutes, just finding 5 minutes just for you. Even if you have to lock yourself in the bathroom and have a quiet wee, anything like that. All right, so we're going to find maybe wiggling and squeezing each toe. And we've got an easy breath. Taking your time, coming to the big toe. Great. We're going to find that lovely kidney one between the second and third metatarsal, underneath the ball of the foot. You know, oh, that feels good. Opening up the foot like this into kidney one underneath. Or maybe you want to be a little bit more gentle, gently pressing with the thumb or holding with the palm of the hand. Whatever feels good for you. Lovely. Easy breath. God, this one feels really good actually. And each foot might need something very different. Yeah, so we're tuning into our feet, our breath, our energy, hopefully starting to draw downwards. We're opening up the liver channel on the top of the foot. Wonderful. All right. And then releasing the feet, maybe finding them on the ground. I'm going to put up some slides and we're going to find our point of the week, because we're moving from liver 3, and then last week I think you did gallbladder 21. We're going to find one round the knees. I'm just going to find the slides for us. Here it is. I think it's this one. Yeah, we're grooving. Great. I'm really glad. That's good. Okay, here we are. So we've gone into liver 3. We went into the physical with gallbladder 21 with Cliff last week. And this week we're working with liver 8 on the emotional level. I don't know about you, but this one is kind of great that I'm here, because this is usually where I get blocked or stressed out, is a liver channel on the emotional level. If there's any emotional stress, this is where the tightness comes into my body, and maybe you feel that too. Obviously, later on, we'll go through the other vibrational levels and connecting in with different points. But for now, we're going to move through the slides. So linking in with the seasons, we're coming from the winter, the water element, into spring, the wood element. Here we are, here they are linked. So we're moving from metal into water. No, we're moving from water into wood. Anyway, so this is a recap. Liver 3 on the top of the metatarsal between the first big toe and the second toe. Then we connected in with gallbladder 21. Don't do if you're pregnant unless you're having the baby in labor. That's great for getting the baby out. But this point's really good. If anyone feels obstructed or kind of angry or frustrated, we can take a hold of one elbow and tap on the top of the shoulder. We'll get into that in a moment, but I want to come to our point of the week. Liver 8. You know, for a long time, I think Cliff mentioned that some practitioners were deciding where exactly it is on the body. So you can see on the knee joint, there's this wonderful tendon right on the inside of the thigh. It's quite kind of long and stringy and meaty. Sometimes I feel it like a big cable of steel. It can feel quite tense sometimes. And where it comes to the knee joint on the inside of the knee, I'll show it in a minute on myself. this is where liver 8 is. It nourishes the blood and the yin, which is great if we're feeling deficient or cold or a little bit weak in energy. Nourishing the blood and the yin really helps and benefits any obstruction or stagnation or pain in the body. So usually, not always, but usually when there's an obstruction or a stagnation, yes, we want to sedate this and shake it off. But then what we want to do is nourish the yin underneath to support us so that that obstruction doesn't come back again. This point relaxes tight tendons in the knee joint, but also in lots of places in the body. And of course, because it's on the knee, it helps knee problems. All right, so I'm going to take this down and we're going to find it on ourselves. I've got this lovely book. I'm going to read exactly where it is. So I'll come up, I'll show you my lovely little knee. So on the inner thigh, there's this gracchalis muscle, and it comes all the way down. So just before the knee joint. And for me, yeah, here it is. Of course, a little bit sore. So we've got the knee joint here, got this gracchalis on the inner thigh, and I'm going to read the exact location for you. This is called spring at the crook. Isn't that wonderful? Spring at the crook of your knee. Yeah. It's just superior to the medial end of the popliteal crease here. In the depression anterior to the tendons and the sentitendinous, about 1 cun anterior to kidney 10. All right, so for me, that's definitely here. Mine's very tender and quite tight. But see how that feels for you. So you're going to find your knee crease here, and then you're just going to come a little way up. You might want to follow this kind of stringy gracchalis tendon and along, and it's where the head of it meets. And then we've got this lovely knee crease, and it's just up and beyond here. Oh, it's quite strong. So take your time. Maybe you might want to have the leg kind of folded up, that might be easier to get into, or having the foot on the ground, seeing how that feels. And I like to use my thumb in here, but maybe you want to use fingertips. We're just gently pressing. Oh, that one's very tight. Maybe it feels fine for you. Easy breath. Sending that chi through the hands, the fingertips and the thumb. All right, I'm going to undo my trouser leg, and then take your time. I just want to give that knee a little bit of a rub. So it's very good for kind of any weakness in the knee, or if the knees give way, this point's great for kind of strengthening around the knee. And we'll do the same with the other one. So you might want to follow that tendon, the gracchalis, through the thigh, and then we're going to find the crease of the knee. And just a little bit back, so the crease is here for me, and I'm going to follow that tendon. Yes, 1 cun from the crease, and there it is. So either using the thumb in there, or maybe you want to catch a hold of the leg and use the fingertips into this point here. And whilst we're on the other side, I'm going to read some more things about what it does and the image of it. I'll put the slides up again so you can have a little look at where it is on this drawing. The image, the name refers to the knee joint that can be flexed or curved, and to the pure source Qi found at this point. That's delicious. So it helps regulate and tonify the liver, especially the Qi and the blood. It drains liver heat, so liver yang rising. Maybe migraines, headaches, temporal headaches, sore eyes, vomiting, that can also link in with liver heat, all sorts of stuff like that. What's going on in the chat? Yes, it's very sore for you too, Lynn. Mine was really tender on the left, but it eased, so it's not so tight on the right. Wonderful, interesting, and very emotional lately. Yeah, this point is pretty good at helping undoing tension. How are we doing? Great. This point is also really good for dizziness, headaches, particularly gallbladder headaches in the side or ones that come to the eye, or migraines. What else is it good for? It's good for urinary tract infections. It's good for lower abdominal pain. It's good for diarrhea. It helps regulate menstruation and moves blood stasis, which links in with regulating and tonifying the liver, qi, and blood. It does a whole heap of stuff. Obviously strengthens the knee, so it helps with arthritic pain, stiffness in the knee, swelling of the knee, or the medial aspect of the thigh. Wonderful. So releasing that on the other side. We don't want to over poke it, but that's quite nice for us to do. So I'm going to stop sharing that slide there, put my book to one side, and then let's see, how are we doing? We've got 10 more minutes to work through. So we've connected in with the feet at kidney 1, helped liver 3 open up a little bit, and we found that gorgeous point of the week, liver 8. So from here, just to finish off, we'll come to the head, find a little bit that gallbladder 21, if that's feeling all right. And then we're going to scan back in, connect the feet into the ground, and it will magically be 11 o'clock in the UK. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit closer. I know we've just worked our feet. Maybe you want to wash your hands, but they're your own feet. We're going to rub the hands together, making some more qi and some heat. And we're just going to allow the hands to rest over the eyes. So the liver opens to the eyes. So if we've done lots of screen work, or perhaps we're feeling stressed or with migraines, this will really help. And you can do this lying down as well. So resting the elbows into the chest a little bit, and then covering the eyes with your hands. Another good thing that I like to do, particularly if our eyes are sore or we have like temporal headaches, is to get like an eye pillow or warm up cloth, a flannel, and place that over the eyes just to help the muscles relax and all the cells in the eyeball. Easy breath. Lovely. And then very gently, just going to cup the hands so a little bit of light comes in towards the eyes. Maybe later in the day you might want to take more time doing this. Gently opening your eyes, still with your hands over your eyes so it's not too bright, and then gently releasing the hands, allowing the light to come to your eyes rather than really looking. And then using the fingertips on the top of the eyebrows and the forehead, gently tapping, or you might just want to press in, gently tapping or pressing either side of the eyebrows into that lovely gallbladder area and triple heater. A little bit into the front of the face, into the stomach, opening the jaw. Sometimes when we get stressed and kind of frustrated, the teeth can clench. So let's really release the jaw, maybe using the fingertips, massaging those strong cheek muscles and jaw muscles. Oh, wonderful. And then gently pressing. I've got thumbs underneath the chin, or you might want to tap if that feels easier, giving a little squeeze to the lower jaw. Wonderful. And then coming out to the ears, giving the ears a little pinch and a squeeze, seeing how that feels. Wonderful. And then up and over the head. Ooh. Either side of the neck. I'll move around so we can see. Okay. Either side of the head and then onto the neck, into bladder. It can be as hard or as gentle as feels good for you. And then we're going to come to the back sides of the neck, into that lovely gallbladder. Oh, great. And then coming back round to the front. How are we all doing? Just going to take, you might want to do both sides at the same time. Oh, I prefer one than the other. So just with the index finger kind of bent round and the thumb, just going to gently take a hold of our lovely sternocleidomastoid muscle. And you might just want to hold it with fingertips instead. But if you're like me and this muscle gets extremely tight when you get stressed out, giving it a nice squeeze. Again, it can be gentle all the way down till we meet the collarbone. Just do that a couple of times on each side. Easy breath. And then we'll do the other one unless you're doing both at the same time. So you can get your thumb in behind it. Oh, feels quite wonderful. Undoing that neck muscle. Lovely. I think everyone's doing all right in the chat. Great. Wonderful. Couple of times unless you've done them at the same time. Gently squeezing, but kind of gentle but firm at the same time. Lovely. And then from here, we're just going to come up to standing just to finish off. I'll move the chair out of the way. Unless you'd like to come and sit, you can. Take it out of the way. So gently coming back to standing. So we've moved the head and the neck. How is it if we take a hold of one elbow and just give a gentle tap? Unless you're the beginning of your pregnancy or mid-pregnancy, please don't do it. Maybe just rubbing around the front of the shoulder. And then tapping down the arm. And brushing off a little bit. We'll do the same with the other shoulder. Taking a hold of the opposite elbow. Tapping on the top. Or rubbing around the front of the shoulder. And then releasing the arm. We're going to tap down the arm. And then brushing it out. Oh, wonderful. And then maybe brushing down the front of the chest, the sides of the ribs, brushing into the hips. We're going to brush down the sacrum, releasing the glutes. Soften the knees. We're just going to brush down the backs of the legs. If we can reach, we're going to brush the tops of the feet. Lovely. And then take your time to arm curls, no rush. Taking your time. And we can stay standing if that feels good, or coming to sit. Have the arms relaxed, whatever's comfortable. I'm just going to very quickly, in your mind's eye, just scan through your body. Do you feel different? Is there something that's shifted? Maybe you feel the same, but hopefully you feel easier and calmer and more nourished in your body and your mind. And on an emotional level, we can gently let things go if we've been frustrated. And we can tune in a little bit to the whole group. It's lovely to be here with you all. Great. Maybe you want to come to lying or resting. I'm going to just pop up one little poll. We're doing all right. Woohoo! We've got 2 minutes to go. I'm just going to find this little poll here. How do you feel now? Do you feel more balanced, about the same, less balanced? Hopefully more balanced and more about the same. But just noticing what's going in your body. Hopefully those obstructions or tightnesses can shift. Oh, that's lovely to have been here and shared this practice with you. So maybe just to end, to kind of thank yourself for turning up and doing this for yourself, finding that time in the day and in your busy week to find time for yourselves. You've all done it. So if we draw the hands all the way up, and find that they meet at the top in prayer position, and then just drawing those hands down through the third eye and to settle in at the heart. Take a breath in. Say thank you to yourself for turning up. Lovely. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and a lovely rest of your week. If you've registered for this class, you'll get the recording straight after. So if you want to do these things again, please do. Maybe after a long walk, you might want to tune into that lovely liver 8 around the knee to help the joints and the tendons. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm really glad. It did feel like a very nice community and a social group this morning. That's wonderful. I'm going to put a little heart in the chat and say thank you so much for coming. Oh, it's wonderful. Lovely group that you are. Have a lovely week and we'll see you soon. You'll have another one of us next week to take you through the rest of the wood element, the liver and the gallbladder into spring. All right. Have a lovely rest of your day and see you soon. And I'm going to find the button to finish the session. All right. Bye-bye.